Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vaishadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada, Brahmans, Prabhupada Acharya, Shrotar Sat Sri Srimad Divine Grace Abhay, Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON founder Acharya, PVT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishnupada, Brahmans, Prabhupada Acharya, Shrotar Sat Sri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की, मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की, नवदीप मायापुर धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगा मैया के, यमुना मैया की, भक्ति देवी की, तुलसी महारानी की, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, श्रील प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की, निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtapraye Sabhatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtriki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manovishram Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shrita Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varsavhanavi Devi Daitaye Krapabde Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojwala Premadhya Shri Rupanaga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Sakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarane Rupanuga Viruddha Pasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kisoraya Sakchat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambar Sambode Padambujayate Nama Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Sakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virvava Bhume Swam Nirdeshta Sanjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannathaya Te Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurate Se Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktaropa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Saktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jaitam Surtau Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Mad Sarvan Swapadam Mojo Radha Madana Mohano Devya Vindaranya Kalpitramadaha Srimad Ratnagar Shingasanisto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtalabhi Sevemano Smarami Shriman Rasarasharambi Vamsi Vatitata Estita Karshan Venur Swanar Gopir Gopinata Sri Estuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Nisabhanu Sute Devi Pradamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta, Volume 1, Chapter number 10, entitled as This Momentous Hour of Need. So in this, we have just started last time, just a few paragraphs we have read. So whatever we have read, I'll just summarize and then we'll go ahead. So Srila Prabhupada is staying in Vrindavan alone, and he is staying in Bamsi Gopalji temple. First, actually when Prabhupada arrived, he was not staying in Radha Damodar temple. He was staying in Bamsi Gopalji temple, and then of course there were challenges in Bamsi Gopalji temple. The room was not so, not so spacious, and few tube lights were not working, but still Prabhupada is managing. It was so narrow actually, but Prabhupada was managing to stay there in Bamsi Gopalji temple and trying to write the Srimad Bhagavatam, commentaries over Srimad Bhagavatam. But for printing he had to go to where? Delhi. For printing cannot be done in Vrindavan. For printing he has to go to Delhi. So now if he has to write in Vrindavan, and then he had to go for printing in Delhi. So it was very difficult for Prabhupada, because very frequently he need to travel. So Prabhupada was searching for some place in Delhi so that he can have a head office in Delhi, so that he can print it from there. He don't need to travel so much. So, and meanwhile he met Gaurachanda Goswami, who is the, proprietor, or who at that time he was handling the Radha Damodar temple. So he met him, and then Gaurachanda Goswami actually invited very gladly to Srila Prabhupada that you come here and reside in Sri Radha Damodar temple. And Prabhupada really liked this idea, because Radha Damodar temple had so many samadhis of so many our acharyas. Even today when we go, it's just surcharged with spiritual vibration. You can feel it, because lot of acharyas have done their bhajans there, and then Rupa Goswami Samadhi is there, Jiva Goswami Samadhi is there, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Puspa Samadhi is there. So it's lot of acharyas have done so much bhajan there, and then you can, so that spiritual vibrations are still there, and Srila Prabhupada really wanted it to to reside at that place. But meanwhile, he thought, let me stay for some more time here in Vamsi Gopalji temple, because he was not having that much fare, which was asked by Gaurchanda Goswami. So, because of lack of funds, so Srila Prabhupada continued to stay in Vamsi Gopalji temple. So let's read ahead. It was an important maxim of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati that a preacher should go to the cities and not remain in the seclusion of a holy place. So in that spirit, Bhaktivedanta Swami continued commuting to Delhi, even though to him it was a hell, and even though he had no fixed residence there. Often, he was taken in by businessmen who felt obliged on the basis of Indian culture. A good man, if he wanted to be favored by God, should accommodate the sadhus and give him meals and a place to stay. But the vision of such pious men was a sentimental Hinduism, and their receptions were artificial. They couldn't really appreciate Bhaktivedanta Swami's work, and Bhaktivedanta Swami was not of a mind to impose himself upon such host. So, Srila Prabhupada was traveling to Delhi, and here it is written that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted his disciples, all the followers of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they should go to cities, not just on the plea of holy dham. They should not remain in Vrindavan or Mayapur. No, many times this is mentality in today's generation of devotees. They want to stay in Vrindavan or Mayapur. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati did not like it. And when we see Srila Prabhupada is staying in Vrindavan very nicely, but then he was traveling to Delhi. Even before going to America, he was not settled in Vrindavan. We say that Srila Prabhupada is staying in Vrindavan, but he was not actually staying in Vrindavan. He was to and fro, coming and going like that. So we should not just on the plea of holy dham, let us go to Vrindavan. But actually speaking, I can understand from my experience that if you stay for more time in Vrindavan, we will definitely definitely commit some aparadh. And when 3 years back, when we were staying for almost a month there in Vrindavan, and I could see my consciousness level because we start seeing so many things in Vrindavan. So that is why Sri Chaitanaya Mahaprabhu has taught us that not to stay more in Vrindavan. Because if we stay more in Vrindavan, then we will definitely offend some devotees. Because we are not on that level. If we are on the level of devotees who are in Vrindavan, that's a different thing. But we are not on that level. So that is why we should stay as long as we get recharged and immediately come back and preach in wherever you are. And then again, when you get discharged, again go back to Vrindavan or Mayapur. So that is how Srila Prabhupada has taught us. Then he spoke with Mr. Hitsaran Sharma, manager of the Radha Press. In the past, Mr. Sharma had printed flyers and stationery for the League of Devotees. And Bhaktivedanta Swami had stayed in Mr. Sharma's house on occasion. Mr. Sharma introduced Bhaktivedanta Swami to Pandit Sri Krishna Sharma, a caste Brahmana, an active religionist, secretary to the century-old Delhi Religious Society, Sri Naval Prem Sabha. Out of sympathy for Bhaktivedanta Swami's literary labors, Krishna Pandit gave him a room in his Radha Krishna temple in Chippivada, neighborhood of Old Delhi. Now Bhaktivedanta Swami would have a permanent office in Delhi. So Hitsaran Sharma is the one who is the owner of OK Press, where Prabhupada was getting his magazines printed till now. And then he introduced Bhaktivedanta Swami to whom? Sri Krishna Pandit. Now Sri Krishna Pandit is very, very famous personality in the sense we will read ahead that even Pandit Nehru also knew him, and he was a social religionist activist. So that way he was Hindu, he was promoting Hindu, so that way he was very glad to receive Prabhupada, and then he invited Srila Prabhupada to stay in his, because he was having a temple, so that there he invited Srila Prabhupada to stay in. The train from Mathura would arrive at the Old Delhi station near Chandni Chowk, the broad avenue down which powered a river of workday traffic. Rickshaws, bicycle riders, sometimes a dozen abreast, autos in lesser numbers, men running on foot pulling heavy carts, and beasts of burdens, donkeys, oxen, an occasional camel or elephant carrying heavy loads and being driven by men with whips in their hands. When you read this, how much you can understand that, how much when Satsaru Das Goswami Maharaj is writing all this, that means he must be visualizing all this. Then only someone can write, you see. Otherwise, how is it possible, writing in so much detail, less than a man running on a floor, pulling heavy carts, beast of burden. I mean, he has never seen this, but he has writing in so much detail. That is a quality of a writer. So everything is being visualized in front of him, and that's how he's writing. From the intensely busy Chandni Chowk, Bhaktivedanta Swami would take the short walk to Chippivada, past the Rat Fort, keeping the Gauri Sankar temple on his left, then proceeding along a side street past the large, imposing Jama mosque. Near Chippivada, the streets would become narrow. Chippivada had been a Muslim neighborhood until the Indian-Pakistan partition of 1947, when thousands of Punjabi Hindus had settled there. Chippivada was part of a mixed Hindu-Muslim neighborhood, so crowded with people that cars were not allowed to enter the streets. Only ox carts and rickshaws could penetrate the narrow, crowded lanes, and in some areas, the lanes were planted with iron posts to keep rickshaws out. Even a bicycle rider would create havoc amongst the densely packed crowds of shoppers and workers who moved along the streets and lanes. Side streets led to other side streets, lanes so narrow that the second floor balconies on opposite sides of the street were only inches apart, practically forming a roof over the street, so that a pedestrian could glimpse only the narrowest pitch patch of sky. Private yards, shops, and alleys became almost indistinguishable from the public thoroughfares. Almost most shops bore signs in Hindi with subheadings in English. Some bore the curvy scripts of Arabic, and women dressed in black with veiled faces were a common sight. In the heart of this intense city life was a narrow entrance of Krishna Pandit's Radha Krishna temple with plaque of the demigod Ganesha and a row of nesting pigeons just above its simple arched floor. So, we had last year we had been this fortune to visit this Chippivada temple, ISKCON Chippivada temple, where Srila Prabhupada was residing over. So even today we can see that it's so narrow. I mean, just even when the streets when Srila Prabhupada was riding at the street, it was just a bicycle can move, not even here it is written, car was not allowed to move in. So it was very very narrow street and filled with a Hindu-Muslim crowd. Earlier it was just Muslim crowd, but then after independence, some Punjabi Hindus had come there to reside over. The temple with its resident families retained some of the tenement atmosphere of the neighborhood. Almost the temple room was dark. Radha Krishna deities on the altar were well illuminated. Radharani was the color of the cream, and Krishna was black marble, and stood about 2 feet tall. He was decorated with dots of fresh sandalwood pulp and a mask of yellow sandalwood on his forehead. Both deities were dressed in silk garments. On the second floor, just above the deity room, was a guest room, Bhaktivedanta Swami's room. Its cement walls and floors were completely bare. Protruding up from the floor was a 3-foot-high concrete pyramid with a spire, indicating that the deities were directly beneath. Bhaktivedanta Swami soon found that his room was not secluded, but was side by side with other residential rooms. Outside the door, a metal grating smaller than in the Vamsi Gopalji temple and Kesavji Mutt revealed the small temple courtyard below. From the roof, hardly a single tree could be seen. The view was of tenement rooftops so tightly crowded together that it seemed one could walk from roof to roof all the way to the colossal Jama Masjid. The mosque's 3 large domes, surrounded by taller minarets, rose high above the ordinary buildings, attracting flocks of pigeons which perched upon the domes or flew in the wheeling patterns in the sky. So this is the what we can say. Today's temples in India are remaining like that. A lot of pigeons. Even if you go to temples today in Vrindavan, not being well maintained. A lot of pigeons are, But that is why Srila Prabhupada wanted all his temples to be neat and clean, not just the residence of pigeons and pigeon stool. Krishna Pandit, dressed in a black, lightweight cotton coat, the kind made internationally recognizable by Pandit Nehru, and he had the Nehru hat also. He spoke good English and was garrulous. He was well known and respected within the neighborhood. He saw Bhaktivedanta Swami as God sent, a sadhu for him to take care of, and thus prove once again the piety of Hindu culture. He found his new guest likable, a simple, gentle, gracious, and accomplished Vaishnava scholar. Krishna Pandit said he understood the importance of Bhaktivedanta Swami's Sanatana Dharma mission and his need for a daily office, and he vowed to supply his guest with whatever he required. Although Bhaktivedanta Swami was reluctant to ask for anything for himself, Krishna Pandit brought in a sitting mat and a low table, placing them before the pyramid, and he also brought a mattress. He showed Bhaktivedanta Swami how to operate the room single light, a bulb and metal shade that hung from a cord and could be raised or lowered by hand. He brought a picture of Radha and Krishna that had been given to his guru by the Maharaj of Jaipur and sat it within a nick in the wall, realizing that Bhaktivedanta Swami could gaze upon it with the eyes of a true devotee. Bhaktivedanta Swami had wanted a secure place for writing books before going to the West, and Lord Krishna had provided it. Now he could work. But informally, Prabhupada has given her name, Hari Bhaktanudas. What does that mean? Because he is serving the devotee of the Lord, Hari Bhakt. So that is why Prabhupada gave him the name Hari Bhaktanudas, because Prabhupada was very pleased with his service attitude. Not only he gave his room to reside over, but actually he was ready to help, volunteering to help. Even Prabhupada did not ask for any help from him, but he was volunteering to help Prabhupada because he understood the importance of Srila Prabhupada's mission. Hari Bhaktanudas, one who serves the Lord's devotee. After 6 months in Chippivada, Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote an appreciation in the temple's guest book. I am pleased to write herein that I have come to Delhi from my house number 1859 KC Ghat, Vrindavan, UP, purely on a spiritual mission to propagate the cult of devotional service of the Lord. And I am more pleased to mention herewith that Shriman Shri Krishna Sarma, Hari Bhaktanudas, has provided me a suitable room for my literary activities. I am publishing an English fortnightly magazine of the name Back to Godhead from this place, and the Naval Prem Sabha of which Sri Krishna ji is the Honi. Honorable Secretary is arranging for my daily lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam. Late Pandit Jyoti Prasad Sarma, father of Sri Krishna ji, was also known to me, and during his lifetime, whenever I used to come to Delhi, late Pandit Jyoti Prasad ji would provide me with residential place. His good son is also following in the footsteps of his noble father, and as secretary of the Naval Prem Sabha, he is doing good service in propagating Ram Nam all over the city. So, this Sri Krishna Pandit ji, not only Sri Krishna Pandit ji, but even his father was very pious, and whenever Srila Prabhupada used to visit Delhi, so he used to provide the house. So in like 60, 70 years back, this was the culture. At least whoever is in the sadhu base, people used to respect them. Even Srila Prabhupada tells, right, that every day in my house, my father used to invite so many sadhus. Now, irrespective of their genuine or fake, doesn't matter. But this was the culture in 50, 60 years back. Even I have seen in my house, there are a lot of fake sadhus used to come, and my father used to, give them some donation, give them, if they want some prasadam, like food, we used to give them. But now I see, and no more, the culture is no more there. The sadhus are no more respected. Beware of dogs. It is written in the doors. Sadhus are no more respected in India. Where it is a land of sadhus, sadhus are no more respected. It's very pity situation in India. In neat English script, Bhaktivedanta Swami went on to write that, in his opinion, temples would be used solely for educating the public in spiritual values, and that it was his personal mission to organize temples for that service. Temples are not meant for ordinary householder engaged simply in the matters of animal propensities. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Lord deity, the predominator of the temple can only be allowed and remain in the temple, otherwise not. Trying to compose Srimad Bhagavatam at Chippivada while surrounded by sometimes noisy families with their non-devotional domestic habits had impressed upon him the importance of not using a temple as an apartment house. So even Prabhupada doesn't have any temple till now, but he has very clear vision that what are temples meant for. Temples are meant for education. If there is no education in the temple, it's of no use. Temple means education. And that is why you see there are hundreds and thousands of temples around, I mean even in Hyderabad also. But how many temples are being visited by people and how many lives are being changed? But Srila Prabhupada, one temple or two temples in Hyderabad are creating the revolution in the life of people. So that's the Srila Prabhupada's vision. Despite his plans to settle down and begin the monumental task of translating Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktivedanta Swami was ready to preach in other ways also. So yesterday we were coming in a road, and we saw a lot of deities of
I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Lot of deities were there, and people were just mad, drinking here and there, and dancing on so many filmy songs. No, this is the culture. For temple means just for our, it has a means for our sense gratification. That's it. People want to gratify their senses on the plea of temple, because if they do outside, people will blame them. But at least in temples we are doing. So they drink, they dance like anything. The women and men mix together and dance on the dirtiest songs. So this is the culture of today's India. But we have to really do it, a lot of hard work. In October of 1959, he had encountered a news article in the Times of India. Two American scientists had received the Nobel Prize in Physics for discovering the antiproton. According to one of the fundamental assumptions of the new theory, the article read, there may exist another word for an anti-word built up of antimatter. The other word reminded Bhaktivedanta Swami of the eternal spiritual word described in Bhagavad Gita. He was well aware that the scientists were not speaking of anti-material in the sense of eternal or spiritual, but he thought of using their scientific terms to capture the interest of scientific-minded people. He conceived of an essay presenting of theistic science of Bhagavad Gita in terms of the anti-material particle and the anti-material word. So all of us have read this, right? Anti-proton. So, however, scientists don't talk about spiritual word, but Srila Prabhupada is taking an opportunity to use such words for introducing the spiritual word. So Srila Prabhupada is so expert in wherever he found the opportunity, he used to grab the opportunity. So anti-proton, because antimatter means what? According to them there is something, but antimatter means for us it is spiritual. It is not material. And it is not material means what? It is spiritual. But like scientists don't have that much common sense also. What to do? It was a time when the whole world was talking of space travel. Indian news media had reported the Russian Sputnik 2 years ago, and the race for space had begun. Seizing on the current interest in spatial travel, Bhaktivedanta Swami described how by Bhakti Yoga, the soul can travel past the farthest reaches of space to the eternal planets of the spiritual world, where life is blissful and full of knowledge. He gave in his own fresh translations of Bhagavad Gita verses couched in the language of the new physics, with its anti-material particle and anti-material word. The complete work, Easy Journey to Other Planets, was a 15,000-word manuscript, and he sold it to Hitsaran Sarma of Radha Press, but he didn't have enough money to get the title Little Book printed. In February of 1960, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to print it in himself in 2 installments of Back to Godhead. The articles drew an immediate response from a physicist at the Gujarat University in Ahmedabad, Mr. Y.Z. Naik, who received Back to Godhead through the mail. Dr. Nayak thought Bhaktivedanta Swami's application of the anti-material particle was really a grand one. This is no doubt in classic essay. Dr. Nayak was interested in further discussion on physics and transcendental knowledge, and Bhaktivedanta Swami replied with equal enthusiasm, finally asking the physicist to join him in distributing culture heritage of India to the whole world. Prabhupada is asking a physicist to join him in distributing this culture, you see. I mean, how much Prabhupada is thinking every time to accommodate everyone and to how to engage everyone. And that's how we got, Srila Prabhupada got many scientist disciples. Dhyutkarma Prabhu and His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj. So like that, because he had that vision that how to attract the intelligent class of people, and from them he will preach so many other scientists. Convinced that such an essay had great potential to interest educated English-speaking readers, Bhaktivedanta Swami worked hard to raise enough in donations to print Easy Journey to Other Planets as a paperback book. He finally did so in the fall of 1960, foretold by Dr. N.K. Siddhanta, Vice Chancellor of the University of Delhi, arrived late but was included in the book as an insert. While everyone may gain from it, the student community in particular is recommended to read the book with prayer and practice Bhakti Yoga, which will help to strengthen the mind and build up character. I shall be glad to see this work read by students and the teachers alike. Several Indian scientists and scholars contributed reviews, noting the book's scientific spiritual vision and the methods of speeding over space, not by mechanical acceleration of the speed, but through psychological effort and spiritual emancipation. It was only 38 pages, but it was his first publication aside from the one-page folded newspaper, Back to Godhead. He tried to distribute the little book effectively. He gave one book copy to Dr. P. Banerjee of the National Museum of New Delhi. So even scientists were trying to go to moon, and even after when Srila Prabhupada went to America, even that time also, one time in, I think, if I'm not wrong, it must be 1972 or 1970s, when Srila Prabhupada was in America, and then his servant Purushottam Prabhu was massaging Srila Prabhupada, and that time the news came that scientists have finally reached moon. And then they were showing in big, Purushottam Prabhu's father was directly involved in this. So Purushottam Prabhu was very much anxious to see it. And then they kept in the television. But Prabhupada, you see, Prabhupada never ever believed on such things. And Prabhupada told it is fake. And that actually moved Purushottam Prabhu. He told, how can it be possible? How can you talk like this? Scientists have really gone to moon, and still you are telling that it is fake. And then it was, however, he was serving Srila Prabhupada very nicely. Purushottam Prabhu was serving nicely. But you see that how, if you don't have faith in spiritual master, then how can it, create a havoc in our spiritual life? So he just could not convince Srila Prabhupada that it is fake. And that is how he actually left Krishna consciousness. But later on, after years, 2-3 years, he came back and he told Srila Prabhupada, you was right. You were right. Because that later on it came in the news that it was all conspiracy. Actually, scientists never went to moon. It was all conspiracy. So Srila Prabhupada was very much convinced that it is not possible at all by mechanical means. And that's how Srila Prabhupada wrote a book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. You can go to different planets, but not by your Sputniks. You can go by spiritual, by some psychological and spiritual means. Srila Prabhupada has, that he has written here. So we should be also convinced with this fact. Maybe scientists may be doing so many things, but we should not be mesmerized what all they are doing. Because ultimately, even whatever they do, even let's understand, even we go to moon, what next? Do we really get rid of a life cycle of birth and death? Even the one who goes to moon, he also has to die. He also has to get disease. He also has to get old age. So what is the use? Already we have got very little lifespan, and then you also spend uselessly in going to some other planets. What is the waste? You're wasting your life. Rather than that, we can use our life in such some going to the, why to go to moon? Let's go to Goloka. That's what Srila Prabhupada has told us. Why to only we get convinced with moon? It's just a material planet. But Srila Prabhupada has given a program where everyone, if someone follows it, they can go to Golok Vrindavan. That is the power of Acharya, which scientists can never even think of. They can hardly go to moon. What to speak of, now spiritual word is, there in the thinking only, it's not there. It was only 38 pages, but it was his first publication aside from the one-page folded newspaper, Back to Godhead. He tried to distribute the little book effectively. He gave one copy to Dr. P. Banerjee of the National Museum of New Delhi. Dr. Banerjee, he used to come to the library and consult some books, and I met him there. He gave me a book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. He gave me some copies to distribute for ₹1 or half a rupee each. Srila Prabhupada is giving someone else to distribute it. Now, he doesn't even not so much, he's not even a devotee, you see. Dr. Banerjee not even a devotee, he's just a random person. Must be knowing Prabhupada, must be acquainting with him. But how can he expect someone to redistribute Easy Journey to Other Planets by someone else? Now, when it comes to us, even sometimes, if you are new, like if even 1 month, 2 months, we feel so much, hesitation to distribute something, to distribute books. But Srila Prabhupada is, not only he is himself doing it, but he is giving someone else to distribute these books. I felt attracted to him. I thought he was a saintly person with pure devotion and without any outward glamour. He was not out to attract people just for name and fame. He had little support from anybody. He was living alone in a small room in Chippivada. He was devoted to his studies. So I asked him, "Sir, if you have time and you don't mind coming to my house, could you kindly come on Sundays and recite the Bhagavad in my house?" He readily agreed. He was a good scholar. he was learned in the scriptures, and he was fond of communicating his ideas to others. He was a good speaker and good conversationalist. He was very polite. Whatever he said, he said very distinctly. He spoke in Bengali and explained the essence of the verses. Sometimes he also referred to the commentary just to give me more information. The others were not very much interested in commentary or in difficult aspect, but because he knew that I had some studies in the field, he explained the commentaries for my sake and for the sake of one or two other gentlemen who were also very elderly and very scholarly. The gatherings at my home would be attended by about 20 or 30 people, and he would continue his explanation for 1 or 2 hours. Then he would recite the Hare Krishna mantra, and we would also take part with kartals and harmonium. So it was a very enjoyable gathering because he made the difficult things very easy and explained everything to all of us according to our needs. He knew that this much is for this person and this much is intended for this man, this much for the others. After the meeting, he used to take a little rest in my house. I requested him to take meals in my house, but he said he didn't take meals prepared by others. But when he met my wife and he said she would be happy to prepare the meals, he said, all right, I'll take. And she used to prepare meals on Sundays when he would come. He sometimes asked me how to get more and more people attracted towards this field, but as a government worker, I could not pursue anyone very openly, nor had I the time to organize anything on a big scale for him. But he was not satisfied with that. He asked me if I could organize on a bigger scale. He knew that the people who attended the meetings at my house were very old, 70, 80, one was 90 years of age, retired, educated persons. So you can see that right from the beginning, Srila Prabhupada was focusing on, he was not so much interested in just educating old days. I mean, we are not offending old days people, but the thing is that, Srila Prabhupada was very much having a vision that, young people should be educated. Young people should be educated so that they can educate others. Everyone needs this education. It's not the old people don't need. Old people need it, but they will just practice themselves. But if any person who is young, he will take it, then he will not even practice it, but even he will tell it to others. So that is why Srila Prabhupada wanted young people to take this mission. And that is why you see when Srila Prabhupada went to America, then what he got? Not a single person was old. The oldest person, what he got was 29. Who was he? Anyone knows? Jayanand Prabhu. Jayanand Prabhu was the most, I'm not sure whether he was 29 or 32, but something like that. But he was the oldest person in 3-4 years of ISKCON. 1970s, 1971. Jayanand Prabhu was the oldest person. Otherwise, all 20s, 18s, 16s, and we know that, His Grace Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu was at the age of 18 and he became temple president. Temple president. Even today, if someone tells us in our 30s or even after practicing for long years, 10 years, even someone has practiced for a significant amount of time, if someone tells us, you become temple president, you will really think, oh, can I really do it? Even we are in our 30s. But you see them, that they are just 18 and someone is becoming temple president with no experience of Krishna consciousness. Just in 6 months he joined and he became temple president. And when he was giving a speech on radio or television, his father saw him and then his father was surprised, this is my son. So you see, that's how Srila Prabhupada attracted the young class of people. He always wanted it, young people. So that the mission could be propagated. And if you can imagine, just he could have preached old age, just like if you see the other temples in Vrindavan, whom they are attracting to? All due respect to Vrindavan, but I'm just saying that if their preaching is there, it's just to the widows and old age people, but not centered around the youth. But you see, ISKCON is we focus on everyone. It's not that we don't focus on the old, we focus on old people also, but at the same time, old is gold, of course. But we focus more on youth, young people also, because they can change the world. They are the future of the country. So that is why. It lasted for no less than a year. After that, he said he would be trying to go out to other places. He asked me to continue the gatherings, but I said, I am not initiated. He said, I could continue anyway, because I was born as a Brahmana. He gave me the authority to continue for some time. But I could not continue because I used to go out. I lost all interest after he left. I was a government servant. easy journey to other planets had been like a warm-up for his real work of presenting Srimad Bhagavatam. But now, he was even more convinced of the need for books. To preach, he would have to have books, especially if he were to go to the West. With books, he could create a spiritual revolution. There was so much literature in the West, but Westerners had nothing like this, nothing to fill their spiritual vacuum. Although he wanted to give as much time as possible to Srimad Bhagavatam, he decided to continue with Back to Godhead by using excerpts from already existing book manuscript as articles. Occasionally, however, he would write and print a new article. In relevant inquiries, he wrote, "We are just trying to make an humble attempt to save the human being by propaganda of Back to Godhead. This propaganda is not fictitious. If there is any reality at all, this propaganda of Back to Godhead is the beginning of that era of reality." In a godless civilization, Bhaktivedanta Swami referred to Prime Minister Nehru's complaints about the misuse of public funds in the name of religion. Bhaktivedanta Swami noted that although there were undoubtedly instances in which religious leaders were implicated in criminal offenses, if statistics were compared, the religious cheaters would be outnumbered by the political cheaters. Although Pandit Nehru had been right in warning of a religious fraud, the warning could not be effective without a thorough reform of spiritual institution. So every now and then people are always focused on, they are always hammering the religionist. No, religionists are misusing the money, this and that. But you ask how much money is being misused by the so-called leaders, so-called political leaders of the society, so-called people who are asking the question. Few years back, there were movies came. They asked, they questioned on the temples that you are misusing the temples, misusing the money. But you ask them how much money they are using for the welfare of the society. Where we do food for life, where we really do some food, society welfare activities. But you ask them how much that movie earned. Let's say, oh my God, movie, or maybe what was the PK? It earned 700 crore. And how much they really gave for donation to the people? You should ask them. And when they're asking then what right they have to ask us? Where we are really doing the social welfare work. And because people are not educated, that's the problem. And that's why by watching such nonsense movies, we also get enamored by that. And you see, after watching such movies, a lot of people became really atheist. Because that education was not there. So that is our responsibility now, to educate the people that whatever you have been taught, it's bad. Whatever you are seeing in other temples, which they are misusing, they are doing it. But what we are doing it on the scientific basis. If we are having Charanaravinda, it's not going to in Nali. We are distributing it. So maybe people may ask so many questions, they may have a lot of doubts. That is why we have to clarify them. Otherwise, those so-called atheistic, so-called scientists or so-called celebrities, so-called role models of the society, they are themselves going to hell, and definitely they will take others also to go to hell. So let's save some of the souls by not going to hell, by preventing them going to hell, by giving them such education about the Krishna consciousness society, which Srila Prabhupada has given us the education. Such pure education, we need to educate them. Bhaktivedanta Swami quoted from his letter in which he had asked Prime Minister Nehru to take up the study of Bhagavad Gita, but he informed his Back to Godhead readers. Pandit Nehru had never replied. Because of his lack of spiritual knowledge, he thought that this institution, the League of Devotees, might be something like so many merats and temples which have become the source of headache for the Pandit. Bhaktivedanta Swami charged that Pandit Nehru thought that any spiritual organization is a dungeon for accumulating public funds and then misuse it for the questionable purpose. And that is why Mr. Nehru said what he said, that today's factories are the future's temple. Today's factories are the future temples, and that's how it's become today, right? People don't, because in that time, this was the culture. People used to go to the temple every morning. But now, where are the people going every morning? Huh? Corporates, that has become the temples of today. He requested, he however approves of the so-called sadhus who do not do social service and talk nonsense in the spiritual science. This is so because he had no depth of spiritual knowledge. For himself, although he is a Brahmana and Pandit. You see the irony, his name is Pandit. Pandit means scholar, who knows in and out about the scriptures. This is the irony. Ignorance in spiritual knowledge is a qualification of the Sudras for laboring class. So that's why he made everyone as labor. Andha yathandar upaniyamanas te api satantram udamni vadda. What can we expect from the people who are themselves blind? They are blind and they will take others also in hell. He requested Pandit Nehru not to be afraid of the word God or Krishna, but he can assure him that there is no such cause of fear. Because Krishna is everyone's friend and able to render real help to everyone. Bhaktivedanta Swami ended by suggesting that immoral practices were not confined only to the temples of India, but were common to materialistic civilization all over the world. In particular, he cited the disturbances amongst youth that were becoming rampant in 1960s. The best thing will be for the physician to heal. I'm just recently I saw one video where there was a question on the temple. So there is some organization where they are keeping some people as a service. So they are doing some service. And their parents have charged them that they are brainwashing our people. I'm not talking about ISKCON. It's some other organization, a spiritual organization, Sanatan Dharma organization. So some people are staying in the temple. They are doing some service, voluntary service. But their parents charged them that they have brainwashed our people. And when it was asked from the people, those who are staying, they told that we are voluntarily staying. We are not forced to stay here. But we want to do some service. That's why we are staying. But you see, Tamil Nadu government has, you know what I'm talking about. Tamil Nadu government has taking them arrested, and they're not allowing them to do any further activities. But you see, on the other hand, on the name of religion, so many people are being murdered. So many people are, I should not say from here, but love jihad and all this, so many nonsense things are going on, but government is not doing anything for them. But when it comes to Sanatan Dharma, then people are being charged for petty things, where they should not be charged of actually. People are doing voluntary service and unnecessarily they are being arrested. But on the name of religion, people are giving wine bottles and money, and that's the religion for them. The best thing will be for the physician to heal himself first. Because in the godless civilization, while the occupants of the mathas and temples have been cause of headache for the Pandit, the same thing under a different label has become the cause of headache for other European and Asian statesmen. The unbridled youngsters of those countries under the name of teddy boys in England, the rebels without cause in America, and the half-strong in Germany, the leather jackets in Sweden, the children of the sun in Japan, and the stride boys in USSR are the sum of the byproducts of godless civilization. And that is the root cause of all headache. That requires a thorough treatment. So you see, such godless civilization propaganda was being propagated at that time. In every country, in England, teddy boys. Teddy boys. What can we expect from this group? They will behave like teddies only. Isn't it? Rebels under the name of, rebels without cause in America, half strong, leather jackets. Leather jackets in Sweden, children of the sun. So all these are godless propagandas being propagated that there is no God, and people had made a club or whatever groups, and they were doing all kind of nonsense things. At Chippivada, Bhaktivedanta Swami followed much the same daily schedule as at Kesi Ghat, except that which Krishna Pandit doing some of the secretarial work for walk to Godhead. He was free to devote more hours to Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Pandit. He used to translate Srimad Bhagavatam before dawn, about 3 a.m. In the beginning, there was no typewriter, but when he arranged a portable typewriter, he would do his daily work and then cook his food himself. I arranged raw material for his cooking. Sometimes he used to come to my family asking my wife to get some food. Sometimes he would also bathe at 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Every day he was typing, and he himself was reading some Bhagavatam, and he was going down in the temple for darshan. Then he was going outside, sometimes returning at 2 or 4 in the afternoon. Then he was typing and sending the ropes of back to Godhead to a place and checking them. He was doing by hand all this type of work. His main activity was typing many hours a day. So Srila Prabhupada had a humble start by typing, you know. Of course, later on when he went to America, he did not have to type everything, but Srila Prabhupada had to type so long time. And then you see the schedule of Srila Prabhupada. He was never ever taking rest in daytime, and not even resting for long time, even at the night. So it's not that when he went to America, when ISKCON started, he was taking rest for 3 hours. Not like that. It was Prabhupada's usual schedule, that Prabhupada did not take rest for long time any day. Just 3-4 hours, that was sufficient for Prabhupada. And we know that, Srila Prabhupada disciples, when he went to America, Srila Prabhupada's disciples used to really, they had to work hard to follow the pitch, to follow the pace of Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada used to walk, then they couldn't match with his speed. They used to run, Prabhupada is walking, and they used to run to match with his speed. That was Srila Prabhupada. Similarly, we know, even His Grace Sitaram Prabhu was also telling, other day, that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was walking in Juhu temple, and Prabhuji couldn't match with his speed. After two circles, Prabhuji got tired. But Maharaj was in his old age, he was still doing it. So that we can say that's the spiritual power they have. As we'll read in further in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta, that when Srila Prabhupada went to Amritsar, Srila Prabhupada was having 8 meetings a day. Can you imagine 8 meetings a day? And then back to back, Srila Prabhupada was going from one meeting to another. Now Prabhupada disciples are not able to match with him. Now if they skipped one meeting and they thought Prabhupada will be another meeting, but Srila Prabhupada is even not there. He has gone to 3rd meeting. Prabhupada's speed, can you imagine? At old age, 8 meetings a day. He was never ever tired. He was never a tired man. Like we may say, I'm tired because I have done some youth preaching yesterday. We may say like that, but Srila Prabhupada was not like that. One time there was a chance for Prabhupada to speak at night in radio, because that radio was, I'm not sure whether it was in London or San Francisco. I'm not so sure about it. But somewhere it was. And then Prabhupada got a chance to speak over in radio where millions of people will watch that speech of Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was having already back-to-back programs in daytime, and then Srila Prabhupada disciples arranged another program at night. They were feeling so hesitated to ask to Prabhupada, would you like to come for this? Because they were already feeling, Prabhupada has done, already he is so tired in the daytime. Should we ask him or not? But when Srila Prabhupada was asked, he did not tell, no, I'm so tired. He told, why not? We should go. We have to struggle for Krishna. So that was, such lineage we are coming. We should be so grateful. We should be so, so thankful to Prabhupada that what he has given us. We cannot imitate him, neither we can try to follow his pitch, but at least we should try our best. Whatever you have given me time, at least I will try my best with whatever capacity I can to serve in his mission. So here we stop. If anyone has any question, comment, we can take now.
Regarding the walking of Prabhupada, when Prabhupada used to walk on the beach, so I heard that the footprints never used to come, and they all the disciples, the pastor.
It's not always, but one time Yamuna Mataji remembers this actually. Yamuna Mataji was remembering when she was in London and she was walking behind Prabhupada, and miraculously she saw that Prabhupada's footprints are not there. Prabhupada is walking, but footprints are not there on the ground. She remembers this. And she checked with others, and they also agreed. So it was not always, of course, but because it's not that pure devotees show always that, that kind of thing. No, sometimes they may show it. So and then Srila Prabhupada is not having footprints, because those who are celestial people, those who are coming from higher planets, they don't have footprints on earth. From this example, we can understand that Prabhupada was not of this earth. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, he was sent by Krishna. Thank you for reminding. Any other question or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Radhanath Krishna.
Hare Krishna. As we are, you were speaking about the intensity of Prabhupada's typing and preaching. So yesterday I was hearing one lecture, one brahmachari. He was saying that Prabhupada, we all, some must be knowing that Prabhupada predicted Third World War. And disciples asked, when it will happen, when it will take place. And Prabhupada said, now you are all distributing books, so it is getting postponed. So it depends on how many books we are distributing. In that way, that will get postponed. So if you fill the whole world with books, then it will keep on postponing, like that. So some encouraging
Yeah.
thing.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for reminding.
Hare
So
Krishna.
recently there was a video which was getting viral by even Mataji Prabhupada disciple. I think all of you must have seen that. So she was telling that in Russia there was third world war declared actually. That on this day third world war is going to start. That Mataji, I mean I'm sure most of you must have seen that video. So and it was declared, but on one day it was cancelled. And and then Srila Prabhupada, one of the disciples, checked when he came to Krishna consciousness later on, and then he checked that it was the same day when it was cancelled. It was the same day when Srila Prabhupada landed on America. So Srila Prabhupada has actually done it. Srila Prabhupada is not just saying, he's saying, and he's actually cancelled it. Otherwise, what would happen? But it did not happen because of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in America. People's consciousness was changed. So thank you, Prabhuji, for reminding that. Alright, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.